Here's more wrestling news for October 29th, 2022, and we're starting off with AEW as Ace Steel's time with the company came to an abrupt end last week. Steel was fired from AEW for his role in the all-out backstage fight, and it's reported that he bit Kenny Omega and threw a chair that hit Nick Jackson in the eye. Now Steel is seriously regretting his actions, as the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that he is bummed that it happened and hoped to put the matter behind him. Steel is also said to be upset about the online harassment of him, which is said to be gigantic, and he's not the only one who regrets what happened. The report adds that every person involved in the story regrets what took place on the night of September 4th, which presumably includes CM Punk. Steel's time with AEW is over, and it appears that Punk will be joining him on the unemployment line, and finding work may prove to be difficult for the two after what happened last month. AEW has had more than its fair share of problems recently, and last week saw another huge issue arise during the AEW World Championship match between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. During their match, a stiff lariat clothesline left Page motionless in the ring, and the match was ended 10 minutes earlier than planned. Page was later diagnosed with a concussion which will keep him out indefinitely, but Booker T believes the crowd weren't sympathetic. Speaking on his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker lashed out at AEW's faithful audience, saying, "That's the AEW fans, man. They don't care about those guys in the ring. They don't care about those guys working. Those guys they're nothing more than toys. Video game for these guys. If they're not out there getting the 'this is awesome' chant, they don't give a damn about these guys going out there and getting hurt. They really don't." Booker added that AEW is one bad accident away from things needing to be done, and said that AEW talent are not giving a damn about the person they're working with. This year, AEW has been plagued with injuries, with stars like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole all being hurt at one point or another, and now Page is hurt, which doesn't concern the fans, according to Booker T. Now, in the past, Mike Tyson has made several appearances for AEW, including being the guest enforcer for the inaugural TNT Championship match that Cody Rhodes won. In AEW, Iron Mike has also feuded with Chris Jericho, and now the boxing legend is set to return. It's been confirmed that Tyson will be part of the announcing team for next week's AEW Rampage, which will air from the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. PW Insider reports that this will be a one-off appearance for Mike, and that his most recent deal with AEW was put together just a few days ago. While Tyson will be calling the action, we can't count out him getting physical or possibly reigniting his feud with Jericho, which some could argue started all the way back in WWE when Tyson guest-hosted Raw. Whatever AEW has planned, getting Tyson in is a huge win, but we'll just have to wait until next Friday to see what the baddest man on the planet does. Mike's return to AEW will be just a one-off appearance for the WWE Hall of Famer, but two new names will be appearing regularly after signing contracts with Tony Khan. According to Mike Johnson on PW Insider Elite, both Juice Robinson and Bandito have signed what was described as AEW agreements, though it's unclear just how long their contracts are. It was said that both will be with the company moving forward after previously working in New Japan. Bandito is an especially big win for AEW, as WWE had showed a lot of interest in him after watching his ROH World title match with Chris Jericho on AEW programming last month. As for Robinson, he is a record-holding three-time IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, a record he shares with Hiroshi Tanahashi, and will now get to work with his wife, AEW Interim Women's World Champion Toni Storm. While WWE were eager to sign Bandito, there's no word on if they were seeking to work with Robinson again, but signing both massively talented stars is some much-needed good news for Tony Khan. When WCW folded in 2001, Arn Anderson was hired by the WWF as a producer and made the rare on-screen appearance for the company. Arn Anderson would work as a road agent and producer until he was fired in 2019 for letting an intoxicated Alicia Fox appear at a WWE live event, meaning he spent 18 years in the role. As a horseman and a wrestling legend, Anderson was a great signing for WWE, but as he explained on his Arn show, he was far from happy in the company. "If you want the truth, I hated that job. I hated being in charge of matches that I had no power or authority. I was responsible for the end result. If the story that was told or the physicality was not good, the finish wasn't good, whatever, Vince chewed my out. Since his exit from WWE, Anderson has worked for AEW, even signing a multi-year contract extension in June 2020, and seems to be happy in his role with the company. While Anderson's wrestling knowledge will have put together some great matches, it was ultimately Vince McMahon who had the final say in WWE, which never sat quite well with the WWE Hall of Famer. Since July, WWE has brought back several superstars, with Emma returning to the company on last night's SmackDown. We reported earlier that Summer Rae is teasing a return to WWE, but one name you won't see is Ryback. When Ringside News asked sources in WWE about who could be returning, it was made clear that the big guy is off the table, with the belief by some in the company that he is a terrible human being. One tenured source added, "I can't see any upside to Ryback," and the man himself has hardly helped his chances, infamously calling Vince McMahon's mother a whore just weeks after her death. Since leaving WWE, Ryback has published a self-help book about the importance of forgiveness, but hasn't stopped taking shots at the company, which he claims is illegally suppressing his social media accounts. In polls this year, Ryback was repeatedly told by fans to just retire from wrestling, votes which he claims were fraudulent, and while the former superstar plans on wrestling again, it certainly won't be for WWE. We reported earlier today that WWE's annual Money in the Bank event could be finishing for good, but one show the company would be wise to bring back is Evolution. That's according to countless fans who enjoyed WWE's first all-female show back in October of 2018, and now one of the stars from the event has weighed in. On Instagram, WWE Hall of Famer Lita made it clear that she wants to see an Evolution 2 show, and used the hashtag #TeamBestie, a nod to her friendship with Trish Stratus. While many people want to see another Evolution show, WWE reportedly felt at the time that the low numbers the show did were incredibly disappointing given how much they promoted Evolution, and therefore didn't warrant a sequel. A lot has changed post-Vince McMahon, and that's expected to continue, and if shows like Hell in a Cell and Money in the Bank are scrapped, well, WWE needs some event to fill in that spot on their calendar. We've got some concerning news regarding Cody Rhodes now, as someone close to the American Nightmare is in serious trouble. Deadline was the first to report that Hollywood agent Brian Wittenstein had left the Hyperion Talent Agency after at least one of his clients approached the agency with claims of inappropriate behavior. After investigating the complaint, previous instances of sexual harassment were uncovered, meaning he won't be representing anyone for Hyperion anymore. Wittenstein doesn't just represent actors, but has also represented wrestlers, including Rhodes and his wife Brandi. Wittenstein also worked for Impact Wrestling in 2011, and then later joined WWE, and even faced a lawsuit from Impact, alleging that he shared confidential information to WWE despite signing an NDA. Rhodes is still injured, though it's been reported that he could be back in time for January's Royal Rumble, and whatever comes next, he and other wrestlers will not be represented by Wittenstein. And we're ending today with AEW Rampage, as the show closed out with Wardlow retaining the TNT Championship against Matt Taven, but both he and Samoa Joe were ambushed by the Embassy. After Rampage went off the air, the fans in attendance got an extra segment, as Joe and Wardlow gradually recovered, with the former issuing a warning. On the mic, Joe said that this is a dark day and warned the Embassy that they are about to meet the real Samoa Joe and the real Wardlow and won't survive the encounter. Rampage ended with Powerhouse Hobbs and Brian Cage holding the TNT title and ROH TV titles respectively, as the feud between Joe and the Embassy is far from over. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.